Welcome back. It is Wednesday, and we are with the great Bob Kravitz from The Athletic. How are you, sir?
I'm tremendous. Late night, but tremendous nonetheless.
Yes, it certainly was. As Indiana hosted Wisconsin last night in one of those fabulous 9 o'clock tips. To make it even better for those watching at home, it was not. Was there a game before that ran over or something? I'm
Yes,
assuming.
there was I think it was an SEC game that ran over. So I was hustling looking for channels. I finally found it on the ESPN app.
Yeah, I saw where people were not happy about that. Indiana losing at home last night to number 15 Wisconsin 74-69. And a game that for 30 minutes it looked like it belonged to the Hoosiers, but unfortunately no shooters, guard problems, no second units, which again I'm not understanding. I thought that they had gotten past that substitution in waves, especially when you know that wave doesn't bring is more like a trickle. So but they didn't, and they didn't lose anything when that second unit came in, but they gained nothing.
Gained nothing.
They lost the opportunity to put a little cushion because they had Wisconsin on the ropes. They were like a fighter who was just trying to get to the bell, and man, they just let them get their legs back, and you saw
Well,
Mike
there's
had
no
to bring the
there.
guys right back in.
Right. I mean, what happened to Anthony Leal? I mean, he had a
I don't
moment there
know.
where I thought he was going to be a player. Christian Lander, look, totally understand last year. I mean, I think some people did him dirty, including Archie Miller, by having him come in when he was basically a senior in high school and he was overmatched. But he's not ready yet, and who knows if he ever will. Um, yeah, there's no depth. Um, every time Xavier Johnson lifts for one that push jump shot, I die a little. I die a little. I mean, you know, it's just hard to watch. What was he, 3 of 16, about 5 turnovers, 2 assists, something like that. Don't have the box score in front of me, but when you get in that kind of guard play, I mean, look, Trace played great. Race was really good, especially early. I thought Galloway gave him some good minutes. That's it. That's it. And this is who they are. This is who they've been for the last 5, 6 years. You can change coaches all you want, but these are the players that they've thrown in with, and they're not good enough. And I think IU is right back on the bubble now, and they got 5 to go, and they better get it right coming down the stretch.
Yeah, they played a great first half, except for, and I mentioned this before you came on, at the end of both halves,
Yes.
they gave it back. I was trying to remember the exact numbers for the first half, but I remember that they Wisconsin went on a little mini run and chipped into it, and then at the end of the
Yep.
game, I know Wisconsin finished an 8-0 run, hitting their last 3, while Indiana was one of their last 10. So I
10.
think
1 of
Indiana
10,
scored.
0 of 5.
So Indiana finished both halves total, like whatever. So like 1 of 14 and for 2 points.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, I thought they were getting some decent looks. I mean, Xavier Johnson's um, 3 ball late in the game from straight away, I thought was a good look. Unfortunately, for Xavier Johnson, there's really no such thing as a good look unless it's a layup. I mean, he's just, he's had a pretty decent season. I think you probably agree he's been all right. Um, and last night they certainly missed Rob Finney. I think Rob Finney could have helped them. Great suit, by the way. That was a really sharp looking suit. I got to get me one of those, 40 something short. But yeah, I mean, this is what drives me crazy is I feel like every time I go to cover a game or cover the game from my couch or whatever it might be, that I'm going to write the same column. I'm going to write the same column.
Yeah,
I can't imagine how frustrating it is for Woody because he's been surrounded his entire career by guys who can shoot, and now he's got the gang that can't shoot straight.
but here's the thing I wonder. You say that we're as deep as we are into the season. the things that happened last night shouldn't happen. Some of the things that he did shouldn't happen. That mass substitution where he takes everybody else out. He's, well, I got to give him rest. Yeah, but you can't rest them all at the same time.
I was surprised he took Race and Trace out at the same time.
Exactly what I was getting ready to say. You've got to have one of those guys out there.
I was looking at that lineup thinking, who in the hell is going to score? You know, I mean, if they could go 0-0
That's the problem. Indiana
minutes.
didn't score during that problem.
Right. I know. And I was a little surprised. And the other thing that bothered me was that it wasn't the last possession, but it was close to the last possession when Trace kicked it out to Xavier. I'm like, no, on the final possession. I'm sorry. Parker Stewart takes that no-hoper of a shot. What was that? What was called?
Panic. I think in the post game, Mike said that they froze and
have that if you want it.
We'll get to it later, but it's just they're not used to, and I don't understand how they're not used to it because they've been in the situation plenty. But when they get into the situation again, they're not prepared for it. I'm like, how can you not be prepared for a situation we've seen you go through multiple times? But they weren't, and that's the mark of a team that's not ready to win.
No, and look, I think winning in February is muscle memory. You learn how to win in February, and that's something this team hasn't done. God, I can't even remember. We got to go back to some of Tom Crean's better teams to remember a team that knew what to do in February. And look, I don't blame Woody. There are small things that I wonder about, but look, he's turned them into the best defensive team in the Big Ten. But IU has cast its lot with this group of players, and until he's able to recruit out of this cycle, this is going to be a problem. And boy, this is not why those private donors, put their money got their checkbooks out and bought out Archie Miller, because they could be doing exactly the same thing with Archie right now. I'm not saying I disagree with the decision. I'm just saying it's got to be very frustrating for them that the same thing is happening yet again. But look, it's a player's game, and if they don't have the skills and the ability, then this is what's going to happen day after day after day.
Well, they didn't have the complete talent that they needed, and I think that Indiana just missed on – I hate to say you missed on their guard with Xavier because he does a lot of good things, but he also – they just don't have a shooter. Now, maybe it's not his fault, and that's the case that I don't know why the one thing I'd say, why does he felt the need to put up 16 shots last night when you go 1 of 8 in the first half, and in the second half you're 2 of 8, so you're 3 of 16 on the night when we know what's working. Feed the post. I mean, right off the bat, we're 3 minutes in, and I'm like, well, this is easy strategy. Gee whiz. I'm like, just feed the post. And then we took, I don't care if it was Michael Durr coming in or Michael Jackson, I said earlier, feed the post. They couldn't stop it. And then if they can, they were going to get into foul trouble. But they would get away from that and start doing their own thing if Race and Trace weren't in there. And that was just baffling to me.
Well, look, I mean, Wisconsin, Greg Gard's not a stupid coach. And
nope.
I think he recognized very early on that the only way IU is going to be effective offensively was by feeding Trace and letting him go to work. I thought he was marvelous yesterday. He was aggressive. He was persistent. He was as good as he ever wanted to be. But Wisconsin did some things defensively. And look, the kick out to Xavier Johnson, while Woody probably would have liked to have seen Trace push the envelope a little bit and try to create,
and everyone else would have probably seen that
and get a call. You know what? In a lot of ways, it was the right basketball play because he had guys draped all over him. And at some point, you've got to expect that your teammates are going to make basic shots. And that's the problem. This team can't make basic shots. I mean, the Parker Stewart shot, Trey Galloway shot, they damn near left dents in the backboard. I mean, they missed badly. They look like me shooting from 25 feet.
Yeah, and we're so used to back in the day. That's the one thing this team or the program always had was guys that could just shoot the ball. I don't care
Jimmy
who you're talking, just
Rail and
shoot the ball
Woody.
all the way up through the days. I mean,
Yeah,
forever and
Alford.
ever. And to go this long, it's I don't understand on how they cannot have someone that can just be a freaking shooter. The state's full of them. You mentioned the Hyper's full of them. They missed. There's help coming. I've watched CJ Gunn go from a kid last summer that was probably scoring 10 points a game in the AAU. The coaches told him, dude, you got to pick it up. And man, he did. His first game back this year off of injury. I watched him score 34, 18 in the fourth quarter, and he's been doing that ever since. So you've got Jalen Hood-Schifino, who's got the eyes of a lizard. It seems like it can see in so many different directions and really plays under control, moves without the basketball, can shoot. So there's guys that are coming. They're not here yet.
No, it reminds me of Mike Davis many, many years ago. I remember I think they lost to Kentucky, and I was talking to Mike, and he infamously said, "Help is on the way." And,
I remember. I was wondering where that came from.
Yeah, that was me, and it was probably the most. It was not a delicate thing to say. It's not a way to endear yourself to your current team, but you're right. I mean, I haven't seen the high school guys play yet, but I mean, look. Everybody and God bless IU fans. They're so positive and so hopeful. But I kept hearing, "Whoa, we got Miller Kopp. Ooh, we got Xavier Johnson. Ooh, we got who's the third guy? Oh, Parker Stewart." None of these guys came from a winning program. Not one of them. I kept saying it, and they're they're at IU now, so they'll magically become winning players. What does Miller Kopp do? What is his role in life? I mean, in basketball.
Well, I really don't understand because it cannot be defensive. He played 24 minutes. He did play 24 minutes last night for 4 personal fouls, and no one could stop Johnny Davis. Let's be honest about that. Maybe you could have if they'd had you out
well,
there,
back in the day, I get up under him.
And let me tell you, that dude's a little badass. He wasn't shooting from outside like 3-pointers. He took 1 3-point shot the whole game. One. He scored 30 points by taking 1 3-point shot. He got to the free throw line 14 free throws. He took 10 shots from the field, but he got to the rim. He was going in amongst the trees and scoring and getting fouled. I mean, he's a special player, and
his body control is great.
Yeah, Wisconsin's a weird team. They've got a great player, a pretty decent one, and then they have got nothing but role players, but they play their role. They do what they're supposed to do. They out-rebounded Indiana last night, which that surprised me.
Well, you can take away post players. It's very hard to take away a guard who's got the ball in his hands. And we saw Davis do this to Purdue. Just absolutely lit them up and beat them. But yeah, I mean, you can take Trace out of the game effectively, and they did late, where they were just basically double teaming him and forcing the ball out of his hands. But you can't do that with a guard. It's just really tough to deny and get the ball out of his hands. So he's a hell of a player. Big Ten. I don't have a vote, and probably for good reason. But who's the player of the year in the Big Ten? I mean, you got 4 or 5 guys who are up for National Player of the Year.